Good morning, Year 4. It's me, Mrs. Shaw, and this is your first week of our Beowulf text for reading skills. We're going to get straight on with it. So let me just open up this, and we'll go for a date and a title. So it's the 11th of the 1st, 21. And our Vipers for today is the I circled, which is our inference heading. And so we're going to be reading between the lines today. We're going to think about what isn't necessarily told to us, but what we can work out from what we already know and what we can see in the text. I'll let you write your date and your title, and then have a go at the questions on the right. So you need to find the correct verb to put in the sentence. So it's either was or were in the spaces in those two sentences. Have a go at that. Okay, let's get going. So we've got the first one here. It says we something playing nicely. So say it to yourself. We was playing nicely or we were playing nicely. If you put were, that's the correct answer because we here is more than one person. It's plural. So we go for we were. And then if we look at the second one, there was a lot of people in the building, or there were a lot of people in the building. Now again, it's more than one person, so we're going to go for there were a lot of people in the building, not just one. If you were going to say I was playing nicely, that would be correct because I goes with was because it's for the singular, and the singular verb would be was. Okay, well done if you got those right. Right. Oh, I didn't cover that bit up. So, who's heard of Beowulf before? So, have a think. You might have heard of just the name. It's a funny old name. It's a bit of an ancient one. Don't hear it much today. I've never taught one. I don't know if you know one at all. So Beowulf is a bit of a lot of people will know the name of Beowulf, but maybe not the whole story. And we're going to look at a text this week and next week about Beowulf, but kind of flipped a little bit. And we'll talk about that in a moment. So have a think about if you know who Beowulf is and what he did and the tale of him. I'll just give you a couple of seconds to think, and then we'll scroll down. Okay, so our text. This is the actually the introduction from the book that we're going to read. And it gives you a bit of a kind of introduction, a starter about Beowulf, so you know the story behind it. It gives you a bit of factual stuff first before the kind of fiction that we're going to look at. So, who was Beowulf? At some time between the middle of the 8th century and the beginning of the 11th, that means a very, very long time ago. So, the 8th century would be 700 and something, and the 11th century would be 1000 and something years after Christ was born, so AD. So about 1,000 years ago, an Anglo-Saxon poet wrote down 3,000 lines of poetry about a hero called Beowulf. Now, the Anglo-Saxons were the people that actually invaded England from places like Germany and Denmark, which you can see on the map here, and a couple of other places. And they invaded about 400 years before the time we're talking about. So they were already in England. And a poet, so somebody that writes poetry, not necessarily stories, but a kind of their version of a story, but in poetry. He wrote down quite a lot of lines about this hero called Beowulf. And it was the superhero tale of his day. Beowulf is the brilliant and brave warrior who goes out in his special uniform of shining armor to fight supervillains. First the monster Grendel, then Grendel's mother, and finally, at the end of his life, a dragon. But the dragon's another story. The story is set in Denmark, not Britain, but maybe the Anglo-Saxons liked hearing about the troubles suffered by their Viking neighbours and enemies. We are lucky to have any record of the story at all, as only one copy survived the Middle Ages, and that was almost burned in the 18th century, so about 300 years ago. There are plenty of retellings of the story, but there has not been one quite like this. Let's hear from Grendel for once and find out what he has to say for himself. Good. So in a moment we're gonna think about the story, but we've got the last word here that we haven't talked about, which is Viking, and we're going to look a lot at the Vikings in this topic. Now the Vikings were the word Viking kind of means pirate, really. So they were people that invaded from the North Sea coast, so Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, and they came across and they tried to take land in England from the Anglo-Saxons. So obviously the Anglo-Saxons like to tell tales about how the Vikings were suffering over in their own countries. So that's a bit of the background behind it. So normally the tale is told with Beowulf being the hero and everything's terrible until he saves the day. And you'll actually talk about that and learn about the Beowulf story in year 6. But for now, we're going to have a little look at the tale from Grendel's point of view. Now, he is the monster, and this fictional tale is a bit of a kind of funny one. Okay, so if we have a look, the next slide said read pages 6 to 10, which we're going to. So here's the cover of our text. It's actually a Bug Club text. You can get it on your Bug Club login, but for now you can find it on the Sway document that we give you each day. So it will be on the reading skills section of that one document we put in the general section of your teams. Okay, so we'll read pages 6 to 10 because it skips the introduction, and we start the story on page 6. For now, I'm going to show you mine on this PDF version. So, chapter 1, The Noisy Neighbours. Let's get rid of that one. I'm Grendel, the grimmest, grungiest, the most garishly ghastly monster of them all, and I have a bone to pick with you humans. You stole my home, and I am hopping mad. Oh, I suppose you probably heard the tale of the hero Beowulf and how he saved the Danes and their drinking hall from a monster, blah, blah, blah. The monster in that old story is a demon, burning with anger and a thirst for blood, rampaging through the village in a murderous mood. All right, I'll put my hand up. I admit I might have caused a little damage by mistake when I got annoyed. But did you ever wonder what caused my anger, or stop to ask if the tale of Beowulf is true? It is not. It is a pack of lies, a story spun by a bard to cover up the bad behaviour of the Danes. This is what really happened. One day, many years ago, I was enjoying grumbling around my marshy home, scaring the birds off their nests, pottering about the reed beds, and munching on thick black eels, when I heard the sound of hammering. Now, you have to understand that this was remarkable because I've always had this rotten part of Denmark mostly to myself. No one else would want to live here, apart from my mum, and that, to be frank, is another reason why humans have avoided our patch. No one, and I mean no one, wants to live with my mother. Not even me. But I stray from my tale. The hammering. I followed the sound, creeping like a shadow through the undergrowth, poked my head out of the bushes, and saw men. Hundreds of Danes. They'd already put up a frame for a huge building. I could see carpenters hanging off the roof, dangling from the walls and digging like badgers to make post holes. They were constructing their new home right on top of my favourite breakfast spot. There they are, look. Those pesky Danes building their houses. Grr! Ah! Had they not heard of the monstrous laws of planning? This place had been named by me, a place of special scary significance. How dare these people march in and steal my land without even checking who owned it first? Blistering beetles! I could do nothing that morning but curse and fret. There were too many of them, and the sun was up. I'm always at my weakest in daylight, my demon strength sucked out of me like water through a straw. I would have to wait for my revenge, go into hiding until these Danes, foolish mortals, went to bed. Okay, so that is chapter 1. He looks pretty grumpy there, doesn't he? Um, that I think is page 10 there. So we'll go back to our smartboard. You've got some questions to answer now. So hopefully you've managed to open the text, which will be in a Word document for you, or you can find it on Bug Club. And now you need to answer the questions. So in your books, you need to write the question number. So you will write question 1, and then how does the first sentence make the reader feel? So in a full sentence, I would like you to write, the first sentence makes me feel, because you are the reader. The first sentence makes me feel. Okay, what I'll do is I'll let you pause the video now, and then come back when you've done the 5 questions, and we'll go through the answers together. So pause me now, use the text, so you can pause the YouTube video, and then you can keep looking at the questions while you look at the text as well. Okay, enjoy. Okay, let's go through some answers then. Don't worry if you get them wrong, right, somewhere in between. I'll try and give you the options that I found, and if you think you got it near enough, fantastic. You can tick or correct your answers. You should all have your pencil cases, so hopefully you'll have your purple pens. Let's have a look at the answers. So, question 1. How does the first sentence make the reader feel? So, the first paragraph, if we flick back to it, I put on here that it maybe makes you scared of Grendel, and that Grendel isn't a nice character and wants you to know it, because when we look at the first paragraph, it says, I'm Grendel, the grimmest, grungiest, most garishly ghastly monster of them all. So it's pretty, he wants you to know that he's terrible himself, and that's just him. And I think maybe he wants to be like that. So it does maybe make you think that he's not a very nice creature, and that something is going to happen with him that maybe isn't so pleasant. So if you put something along those lines, and maybe that you're not meant to like him, or he isn't very nice, well done. Number 2. How does Grendel feel about Beowulf? How do you know? Now this is going to be a bit further on in the text, because all our questions go in time order, in chronological order. And it says, oh, and the way it's written is quite dismissive. It doesn't really give much attention to Beowulf. It says, oh, I suppose you've probably heard the tale of the hero Beowulf, and how he saved the Danes in their drinking hall from a monster, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't take him very seriously. So for my answer, I said that he didn't think he was actually a hero. He used blah, blah, blah when talking about the tale of Beowulf. So he wasn't taking him seriously, and maybe you get the idea that his tone says he doesn't like him. So, number 3. How does Grendel feel about the tale of Beowulf? Now, he doesn't think it's true. He thinks it's a pack of lies. Because here, when we have a look, we're going to look for those words, tale of Beowulf, and I can see them just there if I scan over. It says, but did you ever wonder what caused my anger, or stop to ask if the tale of Beowulf is true? It is not. It is a pack of lies, a story spun. Okay? So if you spin a story, it's not going to be the facts. And it says, oh, it doesn't ask me for any sentences, any phrases from the book there, but I did put pack of lies, and I popped it in inverted commas there to show that it's a phrase from the book. Let's go to question 4. Find and copy a group of words now which show that Grendel was frustrated with the Danes building their homes. And I put grr, ah, so some of those phrases that make you believe that he's cross, that he is angry at them. And it says, how dare these people march in the text. If we go to the next page, how dare these people march in. Oh, where is it? I've lost it on the last one. There we go, Mr. Paul. Right. So it's on the last bit. So it's his special place. It's his favourite place for breakfast. They've come and built their buildings, and he is cross. So find the phrases that state that he's cross. So he's saying things that make you believe that he's angry, and then he's also going into detail by saying that he's amazed that these people can just come in and steal his land without even checking who owned it first. And I'm imagining, because he said the land was so awful and that he didn't get many people come there, that, I mean, they probably didn't think anyone else lived there either. Didn't seem like the best land that they could get. Now, the last question, and I haven't answered this one myself because this is very much your opinion, is what do you think Grendel sounds like and why? Now, based on what you know about his character so far, what do you think he sounds like? So what kind of voice would he have? How would he talk? It might be a bit like me. You decide. Have a kind of think about that and see if you can put it into words. I've got a plenary here for you, but I do look forward to seeing your answers. So you can post your answers on your chat with your teacher, and they will be able to see your work. So here's our plenary. Now you can go back through the text and have a look for any figurative language in the pages we've just read. Now, figurative language will be alliteration, so words that begin with the same letter sound, similes, metaphors, hyperbole, so things that are very exaggerated. It might be that first paragraph where he talks about himself as being awful. Have a look through. Now, I don't really want you to read any more of the text, so if you can stop yourself, well done. Leave chapter 2 now, because in the next couple of lessons we're going to make some predictions, and if you read it, that might spoil it. So try and pause there, end of chapter 1, and we will get to the end, I promise, but just hold on, be patient. Okay, have a lovely rest of your day. Enjoy your topic lesson, which I think is art today, and I will speak to you for tomorrow's reading skills. Take care, everyone. Bye.